Well, hello, family.
Hello.
Good to see all of you this morning. Yes. So, I have so looked forward to bringing this out because I think it is, in a way, a better understanding than just the limited presentations that Spirit has given to us. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense but you see, I know that Spirit has been preparing us for years to come to a better place of understanding who we are and the power that we actually have. So many times I and myself have considered, okay, how do I want my life to be? And in contrast to how I'm living my life now. And I made up my mind, okay, then this is the way I'll do it. And let's say that would be along the lines of using affirmations, of being more positive than negative. And I found myself looking at my life now and, okay, right now I have this congestion in my system. And I found myself this morning saying, thank you for this wonderful body I have. And then I was caused to look and say, wait a minute. You're in essence saying you're happy with the way your body is right now. Is that what you want? Because that's certainly what you're saying you want. And I thought, okay, clarity really is important here. Okay, we know source, we know God, consciousness, different names for the same thing, the one, manifesting in many forms at all levels of consciousness. Okay, now here's the part. I am is the self-definition of the absolute and the foundation for everything. Oh, God, I feel terrible. Oh, I'm poor. I'm without love. I have no future. All of these things I am using the God-given power in me to proclaim how my life is. So I've watched myself in just casual conversation. And I have caught myself so many times when somebody says, hey, how you doing? Saying, I'm okay. Well, I am imposing that on myself because I am using that power of God, a proclamation. I am what? I am who? And unconsciously stating this is what is, and I am accepting it. I really do want to be able to connect with you today to help you to recognize who you are. So when we say we are made in the image and likeness of God, there's no mistake about that. But for us to come to a place of saying, oh, I understand what that means. Well, you may have a thought process that says, I get it, I got it, and the rest of us are still playing out the old me. So, a person's concept of self determines their experience in life. The individual state of consciousness explains the phenomena of life in your life. So changing one's concept of self leads to higher and higher concepts and experience. The foundational nature of consciousness is unchangeable. It's eternal. The purpose of life is to discover one's true identity as the eternal I am. So in this has caused me this has caused me to reach to a place of saying, okay, how am I going to create? And then I've wondered, okay, how does God create? Yeah. Because if I'm made in the image and life of God, then I am going to be able to create in the same way. But what is that way? Well, they say, and I have seen, and I look out, look at all this, look at all this. This is God in manifestation. This is God in manifestation. In other words, this is God in form. But how did God make himself come into this form? Okay, go to the invisible. And in the invisible, God goes and sees what God is in form. And because God sees it in imaging it, imagining it, it comes to pass. Our great power is imagination. And what do we spend most of our time in imagination doing? Reliving what we know, keeping it in place so that it stays in manifestation, because God is recognizing what we are doing with our imagination and is saying, okay, you're getting what you're imagining. You're getting who yourself to be. You're getting what you believe is true for your life. And it is all done in your imagination. Okay, what is imagination? Imagine now, just right now, imagine that you see yourself as the ideal of you. And you are able to, in your imagination, fill that with the energy, the feeling of being. And in imagination, you see that, this is who I am. And you're making what you might consider, because it isn't visible out here, you're making an assumption. But in that assumption, in the use of your imagination, you are bringing it to life in you, to where you can see it, you can feel it, and you know this is true for me. Then you open your eyes and you look at all this is around you, and you're saying, well, I don't see a match here. What's going on? Well, what is happening is what's showing up right now is what you imagined before, that you're bringing it forward. So don't get upset. Don't get concerned. Don't get lost. Stay with that clarity in your imagination as God stays clear in its imagination to bring forth everything that is in form, that is it in form. Using the five senses, you say, okay, I can smell it, I can see it, I can feel it, I can hear it, all of them together. And you see, okay, God is able to propel itself into form, and you can pick up on it by the way it is. You ever smell a dug fir? It has a particular smell. So everything has its own particular expression of God. Just like if we get clear in our imagination and we stay with that, living it as the real, living it as the factual, actual who I am, it must outpicture itself. It must come to pass. And that's really the simple of it. If you can in yourself see, okay, I am God, capable of, through my power that is God's power, and that is imagination, to imagine what I want and to live that as if it were, to such an extent it becomes my reality that must outpicture itself. Is that simple enough for you?
Yes.
Okay. You see, to me, it's so important to bring it to a place of simplicity. But that means that all the other created selves that we have managed to assume to be true about us, that, okay, let's look at it. As kids, was God perfect, the one who brought you up? Was God perfect, the one who taught you? But if you look at it as God in your father, your mother, whomever it was, you see they only gave you what they unconsciously assumed to be true, that they were given through their imagination that they have passed on to you. But I'm saying to you, this is part of the amazing opportunity that's given to us at this time. And that is to actually start using our God power in a way that we want to see ourselves to be, the way we want to have our worlds to be filled with. So, imagination. You want me to go back to the lecture, or I bored you? Okay, because I'm serious here. I have discovered this to such an extent in myself that I know it to be true. But I also know, and I pass on to you, don't become concerned if your old selves come up and try to get into the picture. And how do you eliminate that? Focus on what you in your imagination are assuming to be true. So that's the first part of it. You know, that's the real part of it, is to want to recognize I have the power of God in me. The same power that God used to bring all of this into form. God imagined it. God imagined it and passed on to us. Okay, buckaroo, you have the same ability that I have once you recognize it and you start using it in a way to bring forth what you truly desire. So, you can start with something small. I want to be wealthy. I want to be healthy. I want to be successful. I want to be loved. Whatever it is, keep it simple and stay with it. But that first part is the important part. And let's say you do it at night. When you go to sleep at night, and just before you get into that sleep period, you start seeing who you are and what you want, that to such an extent is your living reality. So there's a transformation that occurs, that from what you want to what you see, and what you see, you feel. So the combination of seeing it and feeling it, it becomes your living reality. Okay, I'm going to wear you out.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now to get back to the lecture. Yeah. Imagining oneself having already experienced a desired outcome and feeling it as if it were so is fulfilled, that then leads to the manifestation. So, in that you see, you have to change your concept of yourself. That means you have to let go of who you have and still do believe yourself to be. And you then enter into who you see yourself are in your imagination. And this is an assumption that you are making that then turns into your living reality as you fulfill yourself in living it. So, practice renouncing negative thoughts and feelings by focusing your attention on your desired result. You can claim and appropriate what you desire by imagining that you already possess it. And you and yourself live that reality. I've got it. It is. I am. I am. Okay. To change your life, you must change your concepts of yourself. Let me say that again. To change your life, you must change your current concept of yourself. Then you're open. You're open to use your God power to say, okay, what concept of myself do I want to see myself being? Open yourself up, and the important thing is, you got to feel it. You can't just stay in your head. You got to feel it. And when you feel what it is, you enliven it. You cause it to come alive. So, the future becomes the present in your awareness when you imagine that you already are what you will be when your assumption is fulfilled. That is us exercising who we are as God beings. I am. And then, what do you fill that space in with? Okay. All right, the assumption, I brought that up, and I know some of you may be saying, what is this? It actually is the highest use of consciousness. When you assume the feeling of what it is fulfilled and it becomes actual fact. This is the greatest creative capacity you have. The natural and only way to lift yourself up to the level of your assumption is by feeling it. Not by striving for it, not by struggling. So what we're talking about here is a minimal use of energy, not trying to convince God, but actually entering into the state to where you recognize it is so. And when you have that place of feeling it is so, well, just like that happened out there, it's going to happen in you and outpicture itself in your awareness, in your living reality. Your design state already exists, but is excluded from view, and assumption brings it into light by changing your perspective. You change your perspective of who you believed yourself to be to who you are recognizing you truly are, and you're bringing it to a place of outpicturing to confirm. So, let's say, I want to be wealthy. Does that mean that you then go and look at your bank account? Count the money in your pocket? Yeah, you don't look at things. They are not what is to be. They are what is because of who you were. So you're changing you. So to achieve a designed state, you must identify with it and transform oneself into it. You know, okay, I'll throw a little Bible in there too, okay? You can handle a little Bible. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You're renewing your mind. Mind includes thought and feeling. Okay? The consciousness of already being what you want to be. Are you getting a feel for this?
Yes.
Okay, so see, this is something I want you to recognize is true about you, so that you will see by transforming the concept of yourself into who you are by who you want to be. If you feel it, you stay with it, it will come to pass. Okay, so it's kind of a mistake to focus on things rather than the consciousness of already having them. So if you're looking for things to confirm you're doing it right, you've missed it. You need to go back and you need to get clear on what you're doing. So far as assumptions are concerned, it's a law. Just consider it a law. Everything happens automatically based on your assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious. The law of assumption operates automatically without any effort on your part. So you're not trying to make it happen. You're simply recognizing it is your reality. Okay. Okay. All right. So, hope I didn't leave you out over here. Okay? No, I didn't. Not if you were paying attention. Not if you were getting a hold of that fact that you are God. You are God. We are all God. And the way we recognize our true nature is by what we claim to be true about us. And what we claim to be true in imagination is the place where it has the power to come forth in our lives. Okay, thank you.